I think that there's really only one diplomatic intervention that can directly have any impact here, and that's from Washington. Washington, D.C. maintains tremendous leverage over the Israelis, particularly in terms of arms and weapons, but also political support at the United Nations. And over the past 7 months has been giving, quite frankly, Israel more or less a blank check in terms of the leverage. We've seen an increase in rhetoric, especially from President Biden himself and Secretary Blinken. But that's rhetoric. We haven't seen much in the way of the use of leverage, with the exception of over the last few days on these 2,000-pound bombs. But otherwise, the support from DC has been pretty much total. And as a result, there's a sense of impunity with regards to the Israelis, and they feel it. And I think this is why Netanyahu sabotaged negotiations, and why he's proceeded to prosecute this war in such a devastatingly poor fashion.
In terms of then, and just following on from your point there, it can only come from Washington, D.C., that pressure as well. Is there anything you've heard in the last week with the Biden administration and talk about the weapons that will or won't be going towards Tel Aviv that actually is changing the tone coming out from the White House?
I have to say, not particularly. On Friday evening, a report came out from the White House, from the Biden administration, referring to whether or not Israel had actually violated international humanitarian law. A question that I think everybody would have expected, if based on the facts, to reveal numerous violations. I mean, you've had tens of thousands of civilians killed over the past 7 months. And we've seen these killings of aid workers and famine and starvation. I mean, I think everybody expected that if it was based on the facts, that it would reveal that and confirm that. And instead, the Biden administration fudged it and did so because under American law, if there had been such a violation, then there would have been immediate repercussions in terms of the transfer of weaponry. So I haven't seen a sufficient amount of concern from the Biden administration, again, beyond rhetoric, being expressed when it comes to the provision of these weapons. And unfortunately, that is the only thing that I think will have an impact in terms of correcting Israeli behavior. And that's really what's needed here. I heard earlier on in your report, both sides blaming each other for negotiations and so on. First of all, it's not really both sides, but even if it were, there's one side that has had tens of thousands of people killed over the past 7 months. Those are the Palestinians, not Hamas. And I think we need to really take seriously the need to de-escalate this immediately, before an even greater catastrophe befalls Rafah, before the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel is put into jeopardy, before a more wider regional escalation takes place because of these incredibly reckless actions.